I never thought I'd feel invisible in my own home, but here I am, staring at Ms. Carter across the mahogany desk. I don't understand, I said, my voice tighter than I wanted. There has to be some mistake. I'm in the will, right? Ms. Carter shifted her glasses. I double-checked, Michael. You were completely omitted. Your parents left everything to Jason. What? Jason? I laughed, though it came out sharp. He's my cousin, not my brother. Are you serious? David, my father, leaned back in his chair. Michael, we've explained this before. Jason has always been more responsible. Responsible? I snapped. Responsible enough to get everything I've worked for? Linda, my mother, crossed her arms. Michael, you know it's not personal. We just feel Jason will manage the estate better. I stared at them, disbelief twisting into anger. Not personal? You literally erased me from my own family's legacy. How is that not personal? Jason smirked from the corner, leaning casually against the doorway. Hey, little cousin, don't take it too hard. You know how life works. I wanted to punch him. Instead, I swallowed, trying to keep my voice steady. Life works by screwing over the people you love? David opened his mouth, but I cut him off. I spent my whole life thinking we were a family. Every birthday, every graduation, I was ignored for him. And now this? Linda shook her head. Michael, you're blowing this out of proportion. We made our choice years ago. Choice? I repeated, bitter. Do you even know what it feels like to be invisible in your own family? Ms. Carter cleared her throat. Perhaps you need time to process this. I stood up so fast my chair scraped the floor. Process? I don't need to process your favoritism. I need answers. Why me? Why not a fair distribution? Jason laughed. It's simple, really. You were always too soft, too sentimental, too emotional. That's not how you run a family business. I felt my face burn. Soft? Emotional? That's your excuse for stealing my life? David sighed, almost pitying me. Michael, Jason has always been the one we could rely on. You should be proud of him. Proud, I whispered, voice shaking. I'm proud of him, all right. Proud that my own family can betray me without blinking. Linda's eyes glistened, but not with remorse. We did what we thought was best. I laughed hollowly, stepping back. Best for whom? Certainly not me. Jason shrugged. Don't worry, little cousin. You'll figure something out. Everyone has their turn eventually. I clenched my fists. Maybe I will. But it won't be because of you. And in that moment, staring at their cold faces, I realized something. I had two choices. Collapse under their betrayal, or rise above it. I couldn't stop thinking about what Ms. Carter told me. How could they do this? I muttered to myself, pacing the apartment. Everything I worked for, gone. Just like that. My phone buzzed. It was Uncle Mark. Michael, are you home? Can we talk? I answered quickly. Yeah, come over. He arrived 20 minutes later carrying a brown paper bag. Brought some coffee, he said, setting it on the table. You look worse than I expected. I feel worse, I admitted, running my hands through my hair. They left me, out, completely. Every dollar, every property, all for Jason, Uncle Mark sighed. You always knew they favored him, but I didn't think it was this extreme. Favored him, I spat. Mark, I lived in the shadow of my own family. Birthdays, college, even simple chores. Jason got the praise, the money, the attention. And I got excuses. He shook his head. I've seen it too. But you're smarter than them, Michael. Smarter than all of them. You need to focus on that. I can't just focus on being smart, I said, voice rising. I feel cheated. Like my whole life was a lie. Jason didn't just get the spotlight. He manipulated them to see me as less. Mark leaned back. You need to understand something. Families do crazy things. Sometimes it's jealousy. Sometimes it's pride. Sometimes, manipulation. I swallowed. I keep replaying memories. Mom praising Jason for getting an A, handing him the money I earned from my first job. Dad bragging about Jason's college acceptance while acting like mine didn't matter. I was always overlooked, and now, my voice cracked. Now this. He put a hand on my shoulder. Don't let anger blind you. You've got potential they'll never see. That's your leverage. Focus on building, not breaking. I ran a hand over my face. Ms. Carter hinted at loopholes, Mark. Maybe there's a way I could claim something. Mark nodded. She's right, but don't let greed drive you. Let your mind guide you. Outshine them. Prove them wrong the right way. I remembered the subtle hints from cousins, distant relatives whispering, Michael always had a soft heart. Their pity was insulting. I wanted to scream, but I realized the anger wasn't enough. I needed strategy. Soft heart? I muttered aloud. I've been too soft, too trusting. Always waiting for approval I'd never get. No more. Mark smiled faintly. That's the spirit. Remember, Michael, they wrote you off. That doesn't mean the world has. I leaned back in my chair, letting the silence settle. I'm tired of being invisible. Tired of being underestimated. If Jason thinks he's untouchable, he's in for a surprise. But I need a plan, step by step, smart, calculated. Mark's voice softened. And you won't be alone. You've got allies, people who actually believe in you. Don't waste time. Hating them. Channel it. I closed my eyes, imagining the years of being overlooked. Every insult, every ignored accomplishment, every favor given to Jason. Rage mixed with determination. You're right, I whispered. I'm done being their shadow. Time to become my own man. Time to show them what I'm worth. Mark patted my back. Good. That's the first step. The rest comes with patience and action. I nodded, gripping the edge of the table. Patience, action, and no more mistakes. I'll make them see me, not with words, but with results. I barely remember getting out of bed that morning. My apartment felt smaller, colder, emptier. My phone rang. It was Ethan. Michael, you okay? Haven't heard from you all day. I'm fine, I lied, slumping against the wall. You sound broken, he said softly. Talk to me, man. I don't want to talk, I muttered. I don't even know if anyone cares anymore. My family, they don't. Everyone else probably doesn't either. Hey, Ethan's voice was firm now. Don't say that. I care. I've always cared. You just need perspective, that's all. Perspective. I laughed bitterly. Perspective? Perspective is watching your family erase you from your own life and calling it for the best. Perspective is seeing Jason walk around like he's untouchable. Perspective is nothing. Ethan was silent. Then stop replaying it, Michael. You can't change them, but you can change you. I stared at the floor. Change me? I feel like I've been nothing my entire life. Every achievement, every birthday, every effort overshadowed. I was always less important. Always. You're not less important, he insisted. They blinded themselves. That doesn't make you weak. Weak. That word hit me like a punch. Maybe I am. Weak, overlooked, invisible. That's who I am. Maybe I should just quit. Forget everything. Forget trying. Ethan's voice softened. You can't quit. I won't let you. You've got fire, Michael, even if you don't. See it. You've got to fight, or this pain will swallow you whole. I sank to the couch. I'm tired, Ethan. I'm so tired. I can't see the point anymore. Then let's start small, he said gently. Talk to someone. A professional. Dr. Lewis, he's helped me before. It might help you too. I hesitated. A therapist? Yes, Ethan replied. Sometimes it takes an outsider to make sense of the chaos inside. You don't have to carry this alone. That night, I made the call. Dr. Lewis answered on the third ring. Michael, how are you? Terrible, I admitted. The first truth I'd spoken all week. Start there, he said calmly. Tell me everything, even the small things. Every moment that hurts. I let it all out. My parents' favoritism, Jason's smug face, the lawyer's cold confirmation. Every overlooked birthday, every ignored effort, every feeling of invisibility. Do you see how much you've internalized? Dr. Lewis asked after a long pause. All that anger, all that hurt, it's consuming you. You're letting them control your life even now. I bit my lip. I can't help it. I feel worthless. I feel like I've been failing my entire life. Then start small, he said. Separate yourself from their judgments. Focus on what you can control. Your actions, your choices, your growth, not their approval, not their will. I sank back in my chair. It's hard to see. A future when the present keeps beating you down. I know, he said. But that's where strength comes from. Not avoiding the fall, but choosing to stand after it. I sat in silence, listening to my own shaky breaths. For the first time in days, I felt a flicker of something. Hope, maybe. Or determination. Something besides despair. Ethan, I whispered later that night, calling him back. Thanks, I think I can start tomorrow. One step at a time. Good, he said warmly. I'll be there every step. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel completely broken. Just battered, bruised, and ready to fight, if only I could find the strength. I stared at the blank spreadsheet on my laptop, fingers hovering over the keyboard. I can't keep waiting for them to acknowledge me, I muttered. I have to do this myself. Sophia looked up from her desk. Do what exactly? Everything, I said, voice low but steady. Work, investments, learning, building, a life that isn't defined by them, she smiled. Finally. About time. I've been waiting for you to snap out of it. I'm done being invisible, I admitted. No more letting their favoritism dictate my confidence. No more hoping for validation I'll never get. Good, Sophia said. Let's start small. I can help with projects at work, even some stock research if you want. Stock research? I raised an eyebrow. Yeah, she said, tapping her tablet. Mr. Graham is looking for someone ambitious to follow his guidance. I know you're angry, but that drive can become real. Opportunity. I leaned back, thinking. Mr. Graham? The mentor you mentioned? Yes, Sophia nodded. He's tough, demanding, but he knows how to turn determination into results. You need structure, Michael. Direction. I exhaled, a mix of excitement and apprehension. I'm tired of just reacting. I want to act, smartly, strategically. No more wasted years. Sophia grinned. Exactly. And I'll make sure you don't sabotage yourself. You've got potential, but you need guidance. The next day, I met Mr. Graham in his office. The smell of coffee and polished wood sharpened my senses. Michael, he said, extending a hand. I hear you're serious about making a change. I am, I said, shaking it firmly. I can't keep living under their shadow. I need to build something that's mine. Good, he said, his eyes sharp. First, you learn discipline. Then, you learn investments. Finally, you learn strategy. You'll see cracks in other people's armor, and you'll learn to exploit them ethically. I nodded. I want to prove myself, not for them, but for me. That's exactly right, he said. Motivation born from revenge is unstable. Motivation born from self-respect lasts. Over the next few weeks, I buried myself in work. Sophia guided me through financial models. Mr. Graham taught me investment strategies, and I discovered a rhythm I hadn't felt in years. Every completed project, every small gain in my portfolio rebuilt my confidence piece by piece. One evening, I mentioned Jason in passing. I can't believe how cocky he's gotten. He acts untouchable, but I see cracks. Sophia smirked. Of course you do. You're finally looking beyond your own pain. That's growth. I stared at the numbers on my screen, imagining my life a year from now. I'm going to surpass them, Sophia. Not for revenge, not to humiliate anyone. I just want to show myself I'm enough. She nodded. And you are. Just focus on consistency. That's how you win quietly. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. To myself for the first time in years. I can do this. I can rebuild. And one day, when the time is right, they'll see what they missed. Mr. Graham's words echoed in my head. Strength comes from action, not wishful thinking. I closed my laptop, feeling lighter. I had a plan, allies, and a renewed sense of purpose. The turning point wasn't a dramatic confrontation. It was the decision to stop waiting for validation and start building the life I deserved. And as I walked home that evening, I knew one thing for certain. Nothing could stop me now, not Jason, not my parents, not anyone. I sat at my desk, staring at the numbers on my screen. My first big paycheck flashed in bold digits. I whispered to myself, finally, proof that I can do this on my own. Sophia leaned over my shoulder. Not bad, Michael. You've come a long way in a few months. I know, I said, smiling faintly. But it's just the beginning. Jason doesn't even realize how much I'm building while he's busy showing off. She smirked. He probably thinks you're still struggling. That's your advantage. Keep it quiet. Let him underestimate you. I nodded. Exactly. No rash moves. Patience wins. Always. The phone buzzed. It was one of my business partners. Michael, we've got a competitor trying to undercut our deal. They're sloppy. I think we can turn this around. I leaned back. Good. Let them make mistakes. That's how you see their cracks. I want precise moves, calculated risk, no emotion. Let arrogance be their downfall. Later, I received a contract from an investor. I ran my finger over the signature line. One step closer, I muttered. Signing it felt like more than business. It was personal validation. My hands didn't shake. I felt calm, collected. Sophia looked at me curiously. You're different. Now. More in control. I had to be, I replied. I can't afford distractions. Not from Jason, not from anyone who underestimated me. I thought about him for a moment. Jason had already made 3 poor investment choices this week. The family fortune was shifting and he had no clue. Pride blinded him. Let him fail quietly, I whispered. I'll rise quietly, but I'll rise higher. At dinner, I overheard a conversation between 2 of our competitors. Michael's moving fast, one said. I didn't think he had it in him. I smiled without letting them see. They think it's luck, I muttered. It's strategy, patience, discipline. They'll never understand until it's too late. The next morning, I reviewed my portfolio again. Numbers climbing steadily, contracts signed, partnerships forming. Every small win reinforced my confidence. This is mine, I whispered. All mine, built with my effort, my mind, my choices. I remembered Uncle Mark's words. Let them write you off, then show them what they ignored. I sent an email to finalize a deal, careful not to reveal my excitement. Done, I said aloud. One more victory without their interference. Later, Sophia nudged me. You ever think about telling Jason how well you're doing? I shook my head. No. Let him stumble first. Let arrogance blind him. When the time comes, he'll see. Not because I told him, but because he can't ignore it. I watched a news alert about a failed venture Jason had invested in. My lips curved slightly. Patience, I whispered. Patience always pays. Even competitors were noticing. Michael's quiet but sharp, one rival said in passing. I smiled, sipping my coffee. Let them talk. Let them watch. I wasn't here for recognition. I was here to prove something. To myself. Every contract, every investment, every calculated step reminded me. Revenge didn't have to be loud. It could be silent, steady, and far more satisfying. I looked at the skyline from my office window. I'm just getting started, I muttered. And when I'm done, no one will ever underestimate me again. I received a text from Liam early in the morning. Michael, Jason just lost the Hamilton deal. Investors are pulling out. I leaned back in my chair, letting out a quiet laugh. Finally, I whispered. Let arrogance meet reality. Sophia poked her head into my office. You're smiling again. I can't help it, I said. Jason's empire is showing cracks and I'm still building quietly. The irony isn't lost on me. She grinned. I love quiet revenge. No shouting, no spectacle. Just results. Later that day, I overheard my parents talking during a call. Jason's losing credibility fast. Maybe we underestimated him, my father muttered. Underestimated him? I whispered, shaking my head. You're only noticing now? Liam walked in with a folder. Michael, your investments are performing beyond projections. Your approach is gaining notice in the market. You're becoming a serious player. I smiled faintly. I've been patient. Let them stumble while I climb. That's all it took. A news alert popped up. Jason's social media was flooded with criticism. People are seeing the cracks in his so-called perfect image, I muttered. Karma is doing its job. Sophia leaned on my desk. Careful not to get too cocky. You're rising, yes, but you still need strategy. I know, I said. Strategy and patience. Every deal I sign, every partnership I make, it's all deliberate. Let Jason fail while I gain credibility. My phone buzzed again. Another investor praising my recent acquisition. Michael, your reputation is solidifying faster than I expected, Liam said. Jason won't see this coming. I smirked. That's the point. I don't interfere directly. I let his arrogance blind him. His failures are natural consequences, not my attacks. Later, I received an email from a former associate of Jason's. Michael, he's alienated everyone. No one trusts him. I thought I'd never say this, but you're the one to watch now. I leaned back, letting the words sink in. It's almost too easy. Not because I wish it, but because he ignored lessons he should have learned years ago. Sophia noticed the change in me. You're calmer now, less reactive, more in control. I have to be, I replied. Jason is a reminder of what not to become. I won't let arrogance cloud my judgment. Let him falter. I'll rise above quietly, methodically. That evening, my parents called. Michael, we need to talk, my mother said. I paused. About Jason? Yes, she admitted. We didn't realize how poorly he was managing things. We're concerned. I stayed silent for a moment. Concerned? You only notice now? After years of favoritism? My mistake, my father said, voice strained. We didn't see it. I see it, I said softly. And I've been building my own path. Not because of you, not because of him, but because I chose to. Liam clapped me on the shoulder. You've got control, Michael. Keep moving. Forward. The rest will fall into place. I smiled faintly. It already is. Karma isn't loud, Liam. It's quiet. And watching him stumble while I climb, it's satisfying. But not the way they think. Sophia grinned. You're practically untouchable now if you keep this up. I'm not untouchable, I said. I'm cautious, calculated, and patient. That's the real power. Let them falter while I rise, and when they finally see me, it won't be a surprise. It'll be inevitable. I looked at the city skyline from my office window. Jason's failures, my successes, my growing reputation, it all felt like validation. Quiet, steady, unstoppable. I stepped into the family home, the familiar scent of polished wood and candles hitting me like a memory. Jason smirked immediately. Well, look who decided to show up, he said. I smiled faintly. I came to visit, and maybe clear the air. David raised an eyebrow. Michael, everything okay? You seem different. I'm fine, I said, keeping my tone even. Actually, I'm more than fine. I wanted to share some news. Linda exchanged a glance with Jason. News? She asked cautiously. Yes, I said. I've been working hard these past months. Investments, business ventures. Everything I've done quietly is paying off. Jason laughed nervously. Oh, really? That's impressive, I guess. I ignored his tone and continued. My portfolio has doubled. I've signed contracts that my former mentors said were too ambitious. And yes, I've earned more than anyone expected. Extended relatives murmured, glancing between us. Aunt Karen whispered, Michael's grown. I see, David said slowly. So, you're saying all this time, you've been successful? Yes, I replied, keeping my calm. I didn't need validation from anyone here. I built my path quietly, efficiently, and without relying on favoritism. Jason's face tightened. Wait, you're telling me you're richer than me? I didn't say that for you, I said calmly. I said it to show that I am capable, that I am my own person, and maybe to remind everyone here not to underestimate me again. Linda opened her mouth, then closed it. David shook his head slowly. We didn't realize. You thought I'd always be invisible, I interrupted gently. But look around. I'm not invisible. I never was. I just wasn't given the same attention. Jason looked away, forced smile faltering. I didn't mean, you didn't mean anything, I said softly. But intent doesn't erase reality. I've been overlooked, undervalued, ignored. And now the results speak for themselves. Aunt Karen stepped closer. Michael, we never thought. I know, I said. And I'm not here to humiliate anyone. I'm here to show that I can stand on my own, that I've grown beyond the limits you imposed on me. The room was silent except for a faint shuffle of feet. My parents' expressions were unreadable, shock mixed with guilt. Jason's smirk was gone, replaced by a tense tightness. I hope you see now, I said, looking at each of them, that your choices shaped me, but they did not break me. I am stronger, smarter, and ready for everything ahead. I paused, letting my words sink in. And maybe next time you'll think twice before underestimating someone you claim to love. No one spoke for a long moment. Finally, David nodded slowly. Michael, we didn't see it. You've proved yourself. I nodded once. Thank you, that's all I wanted to say. I sit in my office late at night, staring out at the city lights. It's quiet now, I whisper to myself. Too quiet, in a good way. Sophia's voice echoes in my memory. You've changed, Michael. More focused, more in control. I had to, I murmur. Years of being overlooked, ignored, made me either break or build. I chose to build. Liam calls over video. Michael, your latest deal just closed. Incredible work. Thanks, Liam, I say. I couldn't have done it without your support, and without patience. I lean back, thinking about the journey, my parents' cold dismissal, Jason's smug face, the lawyer's confirmation. It all feels distant now. Funny, I say aloud, how being underestimated fuels the fire better than praise ever could. My inner voice whispers, You've grown, Michael. Not just in wealth, but in self-respect. You've built yourself on your terms. I chuckle softly. I never needed them to recognize me. I needed to recognize myself first. Sophia's advice comes to mind. Consistency, strategy, and patience. That's how you win quietly. Yes, I murmur. Every step, every decision mattered. Not for revenge, but for proving my worth to myself. I think about the symbolic moments. My first paycheck, the contracts signed, the investments growing. Each of those felt small at the time, I say. But together, They became proof that I could rise above everything. Liam smiles through the screen. You've done more than most people could imagine. You turned betrayal into opportunity. I did, I admit. But it's not just financial, it's emotional, psychological. I feel stronger, smarter, resilient. I've learned to control my anger, my ambition, and my patience. I've learned who I am. A soft sigh escapes me. I even feel pity for them. My parents, Jason. Not hatred, just pity. They never realized what they lost by underestimating me. My inner voice whispers again, "You've created a life where their validation isn't necessary." That's true freedom. I nod, closing my laptop. And I'm grateful. Grateful for Ethan, Sophia, Liam, and everyone who believed when no one else did. Their support was a lifeline when I felt invisible. I run a hand over my face, a mix of relief and satisfaction washing over me. I've transformed, not just by success, but by understanding myself, by learning patience, strategy, and emotional control. I've grown beyond the need for their approval. Silence settles in the room, comforting and steady. I've proven my worth, not with words, not by confrontation, but through action, through persistence, through building a life on my own terms. My inner voice concludes, "This is your victory, Michael. Your journey from betrayal to triumph. Remember it, always," I whisper softly, smiling to myself. Yes, I am enough. I always was. And now, finally, I am seen. By myself first, and that's what matters most. I sip my coffee on the balcony, watching the sunrise. It feels different now, I whisper to myself. Peaceful, purposeful. Sophia calls from the office. "Morning, Michael. Big plans today?" "Yes," I say, smiling. "I'm meeting a few of my protégés, showing them the ropes, teaching them what I've learned." "That's inspiring," she replies. "You've come a long way." "I know," I murmur. "And it's only the start. I've realized my past doesn't define me. My family's opinions don't control me anymore." Liam joins the call. "Michael, I just reviewed your new investment plan. Impressive. You're taking calculated risks while others panic." "Thanks, Liam," I say. "I've learned patience and strategy. That's the key." Later, I meet with a group of young entrepreneurs. One of them, Jenny, asks, "Michael, how did you handle being overlooked all those years?" I lean forward, voice calm. I focused on what I could control: skills, knowledge, discipline. I let my work speak for itself. And I never stopped, believing in my own potential. Another protégé, Sam, says, "Did it hurt seeing your family favor Jason?" I nod slowly. It did. But I turned that hurt into fuel. I let it motivate me, not break me. Pain can be powerful if you use it. "Wisely," Jenny smiles. "So, you're saying failure and betrayal aren't the end? They're lessons?" "Exactly," I say. "They teach resilience, strategy, and patience. And now I mentor others, helping them avoid my mistakes while growing their own paths." Later, Sophia and I discuss a new project. "Michael, your growth is inspiring," she says. "I just want to keep moving forward," I reply. "Helping others, building meaningful connections, pursuing passions. Life is bigger than resentment or revenge." At home, I glance at my phone. A message from my parents reads, "Proud of your progress, Michael. We see your accomplishments." I smile faintly. "It's nice to hear, but I don't need approval anymore," I murmur. "I've built my own path. That's enough." The protégés arrive for a workshop. I greet them warmly. "Let's get started," I say. "Today, you learn more than strategy. You learn self-worth, patience, and how to rise beyond what anyone expects of you." As the session begins, I feel a sense of fulfillment unlike anything I've known. "This is what it's all about," I whisper to myself. Growth, guidance, purpose. The past feels distant now. Betrayal, favoritism, pain. They're memories, not shackles. And as I step into this new chapter, I know I'm ready for whatever comes next. I sit at the conference table, pen in hand, staring at the contract in front of me. This is it, I whisper to myself, the culmination of everything. Sophia leans over. Are you nervous? No, I say, smiling faintly. Determined, focused, ready. Liam nods. This deal surpasses what your family ever dreamed of. You've truly outgrown them. I chuckle softly. Funny how the same people who ignored me can't imagine my success now. The door opens. Jason steps in, forced smile plastered on his face. Michael, congratulations. I didn't expect... Don't finish that sentence, I interrupt calmly. I didn't build this for recognition from anyone here. I built it for myself. For every moment I was overlooked, dismissed, underestimated. David clears his throat. We see it now. We were wrong. I know, I reply. It took years, mistakes, and patience to get here, but it wasn't your validation I needed. It was my own. Linda adds quietly, You've proven your worth. Yes, I say, signing the contract. Not to punish anyone, not for revenge, but to show that self-belief, persistence, and focus matter more than favoritism or approval. Sophia smiles. You've come full circle, Michael. From overlooked to unstoppable. I lean back, watching the pen glide across the paper. I've turned every setback into fuel, every betrayal into a lesson. And now, I control my destiny entirely. Jason swallows, glancing at the numbers. I guess I underestimated you. I shake my head, calm and steady. Underestimating me was your choice. My rise wasn't about proving you wrong. It was about proving to myself that I could rise. The room is silent, filled with tension and unspoken acknowledgement. I close the folder, feeling the weight of every lesson, every struggle, every victory. This, I murmur to myself, is full circle. I've been overlooked, betrayed, and dismissed, but I am seen now. Not because anyone decided it, but because I made it so.